Arrest that man with his country's flag and hold that door for that man in drag. Backlash, separate the slave from the master. Please stay silent and seal your fate faster.
What equality means to me.
Pronoun developers massively fruity. Funny how the woke fix always minor. Queer designer need panty liner. All pretty women are now problematic. Sydney's tits make fatties dramatic. All anime girls now underage.
Wrong thing. Guilty.
Garnish that wage. Big fat titties in an itty bitty swimsuit. Prime for America's hetero reboot. Yes, more departures. Yes to more layoffs. Fuck around, set up. Find out, payoff. 007 frames. I said no to ugly hoes in a woke slideshow. Hollow Knight hit the Drew Carey cause the price right. Greedy dev going night without a nightlight. Decay on the way to GTA. Try as you might. I'm hetero, not gay. Just lay down and let them rob your house, says a bitch nigga Canadian wearing a blouse. Double down, shift up, return to milkers. Commie neo-Marxist, bald-headed bilker. Western game may not surpass a cup. Mostly y'all getting laid off? That's rough. Hello, beta testers. Like, comment, subscribe if you haven't. Become a patron. Go clear out my wish list. Follow me on Twitch or Twitter. And click a video after this one, because if you don't, YouTube may mandate that this channel transitions into a new gender. If you're lucky. Allow me to read this quote.
I know I felt like I would run into battle and die for the company that day. I was ecstatic.
End quote. This comes from an ex-Concord developer in their recent appearance on a podcast called A Life Well Wasted, Episode 9. Understanding Concord's failure is key to gaming's prosperous future. The woke losers in the gaming space are more brand than man, so they'll pretend emphasizing the extremely polarizing identity politics nonsense isn't necessary in properly articulating global disdain for Concord. I've sat through multiple hour-plus long videos redesigning the characters to be more appealing, and the sentiments shared by the people making these videos form extremely concise arguments about why this androgynous DEI design in a fight with what's naturally attractive is exactly why Concord didn't appeal. Refunds, layoffs, less than 2 weeks, 500,000, maybe more down the drain, was toxic positivity and losers who are specialists in drawing art specifically entities would love. Part of the problem, of course. But for all of the crap First Descendant receives from the kind of butt-rimming journalists in the gaming space, it brought people out, which is to say, the interest was there. I want to focus on successes like Stardew Valley, which manages 100k concurrent players 9 years after launch daily. I want to focus on Schedule 1, which manages 22k concurrent players 6 months after launch daily. Hollow Knight, Silksong, the sequel to Hollow Knight, a game that I admittedly have nothing to do with and have never played, but bow to because of its extremely pro-consumer price point of $20, has them losing their mind. But for me, this situates it firmly as a nominee for Indie Game of the Year, not just because it's clear people are pleased, but because it's going to help establish a standard. If people are pleased after so incredible a wait, then it has earned this acclaim. Stardew was developed by one person. Schedule 1 was developed by one person. Truth be told, I follow some of these cucks just to see when the hormonal moaning exceeds the hetero threshold, and I knew that the jimmies were rustled when these losers started opening their mouth about the price of Hollow Knight. If we were to listen to curly sideburn games journalists like Jason Schreier dismissing the work studios get done to instead reduce them to race and gender, then spin a hyper-specific dreidel narrative focusing on how many players the game lost. But to lose players, you have to have scored them, you have to have secured them, the interest, the appeal was there. Is that what these Bloober Team games manage? With your righteous and entitled need to rewrite another culture's language to uglify specifically women, not in a game that you're making because you're talented or creative, but because you're whom was selected to be the remakers? So triggered you're changing clothes that you find problematic and not for a modern era, but you're dangling it the exact same way the new school devs at the Sushi Squad Nightmare were. Newsflash. You make games for the gamer, and just like New Rocksteady was forced to sell the skin they tried to mock, you'll be forced to acknowledge reality in your speedrun. To no longer working saboteur. Appeal is what many games in this woke era fail to manage because of agendas, loudmouth, unprofessional developers, and products so incomplete, you're shocked that they'd even show it to you in this state. If you were with me for this state of play with Bond, you saw some things that you have to wonder if anybody else sees. But that's my deal, huh? Consider us some kind of shotgun gun holders. My eyes function. I see clearly. Articulating what I witness makes me a hater, and not sipping the Kool-Aid means I'm a great deal of names people who can't give me up seem to think matter. But I'm not the only one noticing anymore. The rule-observing normies that can play nice, jump through those hoops, phrase my exact concerns in ways gay enough to not trip Janny Troon filters has the truth, appearing even in places like Reddit, 007 frames per second, a slideshow. These are supposed to be Bond babes? But that's actually impossible with DEI designs, hyper-rigid rules about how specifically a woman must never be depicted, no matter how you slice it. Rules don't equal fun, cocks. And as I dutifully set aside time not to get up my own fanny, but to show beta testers exactly what you say, the unthinkable has happened. I never expected people to reach into your purse and fish their balls out, but you've dropped the bag so many times, clumsy, oaf, that they've rolled right in front of people and all they need do is reach down and pluck them up. Forcing these ugly, masculine, flat-chested, dyed-hair girl bosses and fat, old, dark, and bald-headed Asian flavor was never going to work for the same reason that women combined on your MCU film do not equal Robert Downey Jr.'s salary. One is natural. We can call him organic, no surgery necessary, biologically comfortable with the gender they are, and this will sell tickets, situate asses in seats. The others, the big-jawed, fetal alcohol syndrome having vitiligo they-thems with missing limbs that you force upon people, after a decade just don't seem to be bringing them out. Snoop Dogg dared to have an opinion, saying, "I didn't bring my kid to a Pixar flick to have them exposed to your queer coding that you desperately and publicly inject into everything." And he's not alone. Everything doesn't need to be gay. Surgery scars? Are we serious with this Dragon Age shit? For half of these games journos and shills with that rod, that fence post situated firmly up that ass are damage controlling, trying to say it's not because it was woke. Oh, you speak for everybody? And that's what I want anybody listening to me to start hearing when you hear these cock gargling fucking morons. I speak for everyone. For real? So bold is Disney behind a decade of pricey propaganda that they think they can now guilt trip, shame parents, call them names, and they're just gonna bow and fall to their knees like a man in all the gay programming that they put out, like it's a Netflix show and you're the man and you need to stop man-spreading and mansplaining and listen when we start speaking. Just lie down, Canadian, and take whatever's happening, right? Because corporation knows better, and corporation knows what's for your own good. Receive the injection or be branded, heretic. This wasn't a prophecy. It manifests daily for any of us who dare to speak out. Silence us, ban us, ridicule us, shadow ban, algorithmic obliteration. I have paying subscribers unsubscribed routinely, not notified, because censorship is a tool, much like AI, and now they'll make sure specifically the young may only access the channels they wish for them to access, communism style. If you disagree, beta tester, you can not only be arrested and have your rights revoked, there's actually a likelihood that something you've already said can be spun to make it seem that you intended harm to the public, to misinform in ways that just... and to us, we see YouTube videos that are Indian people scamming everybody that YouTube has removed the dislike feature on, and that's fine. Unironically, we're watching hoes getting dicked down by 1,000 dudes hanging out of moving cars. We're gonna drop a watermelon on people's head and call that a challenge, but we can't mention Blackstone in a video without all of that up our ass. The forcing of queer, per Larry Fink's demands, has the prostitutes working overtime to ruin whatever they could touch. And if only you knew the spells, the incantations that I get to sit in on as these people will edit themselves out. You see Mr. Beast in a Tron commercial? That's the future you're looking forward to. We don't need to do anything. You set this up. You spent that decade making it clear, invalidating any necessity for talent, for skill. It's all about who you are and what ticked box. And the ticked box in these scenarios is going to be, they have an audience. Do you have an audience? The gamers are political now, and there's no putting that back in the box.
I'm here today as a parent and a senator, and along with my colleagues and so many of the advocates from around the country, we are determined to stop a situation in which video games with pornographic and violent content are being peddled to our children. Now, as you can see from the posters that we have displayed here, many games contain content that is deeply disturbing. It's almost routine in popular games for players to spray other people with Uzis, to drive over pedestrians, to kill police officers, to attack women, and in some cases, even to engage in cannibalism. Players commit gruesome acts like these using top-of-the-line graphics in stunningly realistic detail. But we have 40 years of research to tell us that violent media is bad for our children. According to the most comprehensive statistical analysis yet conducted, violent video games increase aggressive behavior as much as lead exposure decreases children's IQ scores. And I want people to think about that. Everybody knows lead poisoning is bad for children. Oh, I want everybody to know that exposure to violent video games is also bad for children. We need to treat violent video games the way we treat tobacco, alcohol, and pornography. We know that these products are damaging to children, and we need to give parents the tools to keep them out of kids' hands. If you put it just really simply, these violent video games are stealing the innocence of our children. And it is certainly making the job of being a parent even more difficult. So the time has come to put on the brakes and to just insist that parents know what material is in the video games their children play, and to pass laws with real teeth that will send a clear message that we really do mean business.
In response to Silksong being priced at $20, some bozo writes, "Quite honestly, Team Cherry Games really does a disservice to the industry and other developers pricing Silksong so low. The level of work, craftsmanship, years, and you charge $20.
I get being pro-consumer, but this would be infuriating to your colleagues and in turn distort gamers' sense of worth.
To which I respond, distort gamers' sense of worth? He means establish standards, the ones that already exist with people rejecting pronoun Concord and gobbling up sexy Marvel rivals. Is it the game? Is it the price? Or is it something else? Not all games force jumping off the map for experience. Representation. It couldn't be funnier for Kyle that in this time, Beavis and Butthead Mike Judge creations are in conversations around Call of Duty and Fortnite. They're coming to Fortnite tonight, so somebody get me those skins, cause hell yeah. Beavis and Butthead feels at the core of this discussion, the center of the violence and video games and TV bad. Ooh, make it the scapegoat, right? If you guys are too young, the show was censored because of some Karen claiming that her kid started a fire because of behavior he learned to imitate on Beavis and Butthead. And it was later revealed that they didn't even have cable, and that the mother had called the kind of news before she even called the fire. You know, it's just attention seeking sluts. And what if I told you that all this panic and outrage and cringe that I've been witnessing my entire life, that's really been mounting recently, is happening because of what GTA 6 is going to do? It's going to change not just the gaming space, not just the internet, but by extension, the world. There's a meme depicting a hydrogen bomb versus a coughing baby, and I need you to understand, the internet as you know it is the baby. GTA 6 has 3 of those bombs lined up, and even they know better than to release all of them all at once. If you're as old as me, beta tester, you probably remember listening to GTA's radio stations fondly. Love or hate Laszlo, he was responsible for a lot of the charm, humor, and music that made it into GTA, and his departure along with Hauser, it's taking apprehension to a worrying level because of the censorship that we know took place to protect the alphabet entities. They must not be joked about. They want to try to direct it to, oh, you're saying it's woke because there's a woman in a game. No. It's woke because of what you remove from the table. And it's obvious. So, I'm forced to unfortunately regard the radio stations and the edge that I used to hear in GTA is something too much for the game now, but only time will tell. And maybe that's what some of these delays were about. You know, you really thought you were prepared for a Florida fucking Grand Theft Auto? They're on record saying they were glad to make a game on the other side of a Trump presidency. Is that what you thought was gonna happen? So yeah, I was overjoyed to see Jiggle, Tail, Tatas, even Pretty on display for a change. Excuse me. I was alarmed that the money shots, if you will, of these big titty women washing a car were mysteriously excluded from the main trailer, but I'm sure they'll make it into trailers as we get closer to launch. It certainly breaks the woke Western mold of DEI design. Not completely, but it finally made me believe crafting a pretty girl might be possible. And I know a lot of women, and if you MMO, if you mess with Asian games, you know how much it matters to girls to be pretty in a game too. But when I watched it on stream with you guys, none of you were impressed and firmly landed on the bait and switch of it all. And this is an intelligent conclusion following Rockstar's self-censorship, especially in the climate we've observed for so long. For ages, Western games have prioritized messages, agendas, and inorganic injections over a fun experience, but these failures have caught up with them. The woke went broke, and either GTA competes or accepts that an Asian version of it will have prettier characters and claim its money. Eventually. It won't take 10 years, it won't take 5, but what I'm currently watching has me salivating. I believe the best way to express how I feel is to assert that they've invested too much to sacrifice potential sales with overt stupidity. Will there be stupidity at play? Oh yes, overt. That's what I believe the delays are mitigating. I think GTA is an experience that'll listen to you, that'll read you, that'll make your session less gay than a lot of the normie sessions based on what you're putting into it. I think Rockstar absorbing a bit of that roleplay shows me some things, but I'm definitely open to hearing about how it's cope in the comments section. Let's hear it. Still mad Crimson Desert is delayed. I feel so alone in the games that I'm excited about, but I don't need you guys to be excited about it. Crimson Desert, Azure Promelia, Once Upon a Katamari, Tides of Annihilation, Sonic Racing Cross Worlds now. What happened to Sega, the fucking Crazy Taxi nonsense? You know? I want to see if Lego Party is the Nintendo free Mario Party that people would love. I want to see if Flowtopia is the Nintendo free Animal Crossing that people would love. I'm hyped for Simpsons in Fortnite. See how stupid that's going to be. Get some footage. Where the hell have the Simpsons been in the gaming space? But the tragic truth is probably that I'm a little more hyped for what I expect to be a tragedy. Not exactly a Concord, not exactly a Sushi Squad, but, you know, an early access loot box skate air quotes game looking like a Fortnite creative mode copied from a Roblox game. Borderlands 4. I'm sorry. I almost like gagged a little. Wolverine by Insomniac Games, the language rewriters who worked with Sweet Baby Inc., desperate to make you play as more girlfriends than superheroes, because you don't have to have powers to be a superhero. Oh man, what a cult. See yourself, man. Can't even get your fucking tokens flag right. Terry McGinnis and Static Shock have respect that Token Morales will never achieve, but his curvy mama can make my pee-pee boing boy howdy. Props. Crystal Dynamics suffers layoffs. Oh no, Fireaxis suffers layoffs. Remember when you was doing all of that woke Western game shit? Sucks, man. Fair Games. How can I miss it? Miss it. Because of the interview that an ex-Concord dev gave, they clearly miss the work environment and listening to how they'd speak. You'd liken it to how boring people miss high school. I'm sorry, it's really shattering my brain to just think about, let alone articulate and contextualize properly. But this entity that used to work for Firewalk that got shut down after Concord, the live service game, was killed after 2 weeks, barely, you know, almost 2 weeks, forgive me, my God. They wrote,
"This is the first studio where I felt equal and treated right. Not only is everyone super talented, but also everyone was respectful and nice. It's a green flag when I can go into the women's bathroom and it's not only filled with feminine hygiene products, but also there's women there."
End quote. It's almost sad that they don't even realize that the problem is all this other stuff that slides onto the plate that isn't getting work done. Ever see a joke image of a single man's apartment and it's like a mattress and a TV on the floor? Yeah, it's not a joke. That shit functions. It gets the job done. Going past that comes with the involvement of a woman. When woke water carriers run to the rooftops to wave whatever the flag of the minute is, downplaying clankers with pronouns, being why normal people passed on the nose ring, dark lipstick, armpit hair, fat black lady video game, they'll try their best to defend the dustborns of the world as more than government-funded propaganda. Homie, the developers want you to know that they consider knitting men what they gonna change the picture with. They gonna flip the script. If men and their male gaze want an attractive Eve from Stellar Blade or Sydney Sweeney type, that's wrong and bad, and how dare you, and censor that fucking cleavage out, and you are not allowed to emote that close to that woman. But if women seek it, that's no problem, right? Simulated intercourse with a bear is fine, but flat chests are mandatory. Dick and ball jiggle physics prioritized into the base game, A-okay. But you'd have to mod the game to make a woman's face pretty. We just trying to get a little feminine around here, isn't that what you want? Oh yeah, you only want it for the men. Men are not as insecure as you write them to be, because we are not the ones who need other men to be represented exclusively as fat, ugly, and disabled. But activists won't rest until the Hellraiser game has A cups or smaller, and for the Gore game, formerly known as Mortal Kombat, to have all women wearing hijabs. Oh yeah, angry women, pay for angry women. You heard they delayed that Street Fighter movie with the bald-headed bitch? That shit goes crazy. So that's what's on offer in the West, and the alternative, in my opinion, is GTA coming right down the pipes. It's got over a decade of pent-up frustration to slot right into the Hypefinity gauntlet. It'll fill up pre-launch. You guys don't know how funny Mr. Beast in a Tron movie is yet, but you'll get it soon. And did you see that Don't Nod, even after all of their failures in the games department and layoffs that they suffered, have a Life is Strange TV show or movie? I wasn't paying attention. It just looks like trash. Is Hunter Schafer and Bella Ramsey available? Moving the fuck on. Maybe they'll cast some of those thoughts who originally spread their legs for good reviews in the video game space, because that was the only way they were gonna get positive attention. You guys can perceive how low quality something like an Ice Cube War of the Worlds movie is, but I can see what's going on with games and culture as a whole, and it's gonna get a little bit worse before it gets any better. So the funny thing about the world being sanitized and baby-proof for sensitivity pussies is that what was once something a head of an intelligence agency could say and be regarded as insightful is now too mean and hurtful and bigoted to be spoken, and you need to be quiet, you need to be silenced. And I guess you guys are all used to being silenced, man. They mocked you into silence this long. You hear Spielberg wanted to, he wanted to do the Call of Duty movie, but they didn't want to give him control, so that's not happening. You know, they don't know what Medal of Honor is. They too young for all of this. So I'll be honest, seeing the shills coat crap like Kronos and just glade code in their Borderlands. You know, ignorant AI, just absolutely over 15-year-old dated dumpster AI is something I've seen these entities defend after this disastrous wannabe James Bond game. And it's unfortunately going to allow Grand Theft Auto to soar. It's going to make it seem like they've been the only one making any progress in the last decade plus, actually designing and innovating. AI has existed in games forever, and it's also existed in the government as a tool, an excellent Wall Street kind. The boldest thing Fortnite did was plop Vader in as an AI and allow people to talk to him. You saw my excitement when I was trying to break it. You saw the world's excitement when they were successfully breaking it. And I think that exact kind of AI is what's going to blur the lines between Grand Theft Auto 6 as a video game experience and a second life, if you will, an immersive experience that is truly worthy of the kind of glazing you see some of these shills pass out to everything. I think the relevant word for some of the marvelous things we're going to be seeing is context. The bravest way I can say this without potentially getting in trouble is that I believe GTA6 will respond to you the way that games should, not the way they have. And typically there are two things stopping that. Number one is a budget. Number two is a developer with any goddamn imagination. And no, that's not to say that you're not talented and creative and imaginative. It is to say that you're not a bastard. You need to know how to play the way a man would know how to play this game, so that when they do a thing they think is taking this off the rails, going off script, breaking the experience, there is a response to it. A virtual handshake, an acknowledgement, a nod. I knew you tried that. And if you're not a bastard, if you're not a real motherfucker, you're not that guy. None of you have been that guy. That's why all your games are forgettable. They're trash. They, very eloquently, one word, suck. And no amount of gaslighting and participation trophies you feel entitled to because you're the first this or the most diverse that is going to change that what you produce sucks. And if it weren't for the platform you were being gifted, or this remake that you're involving yourself with after someone better than you made something, you wouldn't be relevant. Go fuck yourself. Woke cucks don't use the term fun because it's about strapping you in and holding you captive. That's what they regard you as. They need to, open those eyes, make sure they pump you full of that message, and dangle Spider-Man or gameplay just long enough to keep you engaged. GTA wants you immersed. It's hiring people to get in your head and make sure that you spend time happy in and thinking about this experience more so than you do anywhere else. Roblox and Fortnite have made tools available for people to craft experiences, and I think Skate is going to try to take the same approach but in a lazier kind of way. Like Mind's Eye, Skate hopes you'll finish the game for them, but the thinking in GTA6, I believe, will make the kinds of tools and features available. Instead of a half-ass, they put in a full ass into it. And it's going to make hundreds of thousands of bedrooms development studios. We are currently at a point technologically where we can dictate verbally how we want a rudimentary game to function and how we want it to look, and have AI walk us through the realization of that. If GTA can craft a game dev for dummies version and pack that right into their, not just a video game, but maybe a streaming experience, maybe all of these different things that people aren't even thinking about, what do you think it'll change as far as we are concerned? So look, I could really run my mouth talking about this and feel like I'm not even really touching anything here. So I just want to thank you for being you, tolerating all of this, sticking through all the nightmare of some things drastically changing. And I want you to know that you're loved, and that, again, I think we're going to need to start grouping up, because I want to have all of you ready for whatever we set up in games like that when we're finally able to play together. I want to have the group set up from now. So see you in the Discord, follow on Twitter or Twitch or wherever's convenient, and hopefully we can make some things happen. Get on my wish list and buy me that bed. Really didn't mean to reach 30 minutes, my God. Special thanks to the patrons and the sponsors. You receive it all. Splatter.